food consumption. Okay, so with that, let me pass it to Anish to take us through the second question.
Yeah, so the second question we have, or statement that we have here, is Jain Dharma promotes killing of hundreds of plants for food rather than a single animal. And then those are your options. Harvesting plants takes less effort than killing one large animal. Jains have always been a farming community. C, no, the number of lives is not a factor in violence. Or D, higher sensed beings generate heavier karma when killed. So you have to think about in this question whether Jain Dharma promotes and why does it promote killing of hundreds of plants versus for example like an animal or something with a higher sense. So we have 50% have voted so far, so we'll wait until more people have voted. So we have 72% now. We'll give it a few more seconds. And yeah, I think we can close the poll now. So majority of have picked option D, higher sense beings generate heavier karma when killed. And yeah, the correct answer is D. And the reason for this is, if you think about what you're harming in the process, when you harm a plant, then the pain and the suffering, the quality of the violence is much higher, because they have, like an animal has much more like a conscious feeling, and also the intention and nature of the action is much higher, intensity of the action is much higher when you're killing an animal. And then it's the highest when you kill an animal with a mind, so such as a human being. And yeah, some nuances is that the argument that killing one large animal is better than harming many plants is utilitarian logic, which Jainism does not accept. And there's in today's modern world, there's always an option to choose like a lesser violent diet. And if you go to the next slide.
Yeah, maybe this one I can quickly present. So here we have tried to show how life is classified within Jain Dharma. And like you see on the first level, you have Sansari and Mukt Jeev. The liberated souls are the Mukt Jeev. Amongst the Sansari, there is Tras and Stavar. Tras, I think, are the ones which are mobile in nature, and Stavar are the ones which are immobile by their own, by themselves. And then within Tras, you have the different senses, right? Amongst the five. So two sense beings, three, four, five Indriya, which are the senses. And then in Stavar, you have the Prithvikai, Jalkai, Agnikai, Vayukai, and Vanaspatikai, which are all uh, the Ek Indriya Jeeves. And then within Ek Indriya, you have the Pratyek Vanaspati and Sadharan Vanaspati. And Sadharan Vanaspati, like you know from the previous questions, are the ones which have infinite life within one plant, and Pratyek Vanaspati have one life in one plant. And then further to this, they have further classifications. We are also still in the process of learning the next level, but this gives you a good view of how life is classified and can help you understand further in detail. Okay, so those were the first two. Now let's go to the third question. So, Roopali, if you can go to the next slide. Yeah. So the third question is around Jains avoid leafy vegetables, also known as nilotri, on certain days or tithis because the first option is leafy vegetables have higher life form than other plants. which seems likely. The second option is they become spiritually impure on these days. The third option is most likely to bind karma for the next birth on these days. And the fourth is it promotes the spirit of aparigraha or vruti sankshep, which is limiting the number of food items. And the fourth option over here has some technical terms, so seems like this might be the right one. And I can see some live responses. Around seven of you have responded, and this is something that we might have heard our parents or grandparents talk about, right? Right, today is XYZ Tithi, so we should not eat nilotri, which are the green leafy. So we want to try and see how many actually know the reason behind it. Um, and all of these, in some form or the other, we might have heard about as the reasons why people don't do this. And this one, I would admit, is not as popular as the other two questions. So I am also seeing people taking some time to think about it. But so far now we have 13 responses. And then majority are split amongst two options. Okay, so we have 14 now. So let's end the poll here, and let's show the results. Yeah, so like you see, a bunch of you have selected the first option, which is that leafy vegetables have higher life form, and then the last option, which is it promotes Ruti Sankshep. However, the right answer over here is C, which is that they are most likely to bind Ayushya Karma for the next birth on these days. That's the main reason. And to give you some more detail around this, so the Ayushya Karma is binded in the two-third interval of your remaining lifespan. The process repeats until the very end of your life. So you can actually get one particular uh, profile of next birth, and you can potentially change it until you die. And then the Tithi days are more likely to fall within those two-third intervals where karma could be bounded, and the intensity of passion or kasha is higher during these days. So hence during these Tithi days, and also to give you more detail, so the Tithi days are usually the Pancham, Atham, and Chaudas of the Sudh half, or the Atham and Chaudas of the Vad half. And this particular image that you see is from Jain Center of New Jersey's 2025 Panchang, and it's a beautifully designed calendar. I really liked it, and the link is there on the QR code, and you can also just Google search it. You'll easily find it. So the yellow ones that you see, these are the Tithi days. So the Pancham, Atham, and Chaudas of the Sudh half, and then also the Atham and Chaudas of the Vad half. That's when these tithis fall. And there are also certain other auspicious days, like the Kalyanaks of Tirthankars, which are highlighted with blue text. Ronak is also highlighting today is Chaudas. Wow, that's amazing. That's good to know. So this calendar also something that can be get that has a lot of different uh, uh, details on different concepts, which you can feel free to go through and learn more about tithis and how the Jain calendar functions. Okay, so with that, let me pass it to Rupali for the fourth one.
Okay. So the fourth question we have, which is a very common question which we all get, is Jains should not eat after sunset because. And we have four options, and we believe all the options are very, very close, but let's see who gets the right one. So the first option we have is light bulbs are not as powerful as the sun. That's why we would avoid after sunset. Or the second option, the microscopic organisms grow on food at night. Third option we have, it was a traditional practice that is now outdated, considering Jainism is a very old religion. And then the last option which we have is attachment to food is higher at night. No wonders why most of the parties happen at night, but let's see. Okay, so we have close to 12 people who have voted. Mm. Okay. We have like 75% of people who have already voted. So actually, you'll be surprised by the answer. So maybe let's go. So correct answer is B and D. And 93% of you did pick B. I think there was no option to pick two options. So most of you are like partially right. Yes, there is a growth of microscopic organisms, which is very rapid in the nighttime, but also like the attachment and the appetite which we have at night to consume anything, including food or anything, is very high at night. So that is why in Jainism, we actually want that the spiritual reflection and meditation, that time is actually focused for spiritual reflection and meditation. And anything which happens after sunset, we want that time to be devoted and to maintain a state of mental and physical purity. Then we do have a couple of scriptural references here from where we took this response. So it's not just the reasoning is not just behind the microscopic growth happening more at night, but also related to the high appetite which we have for anything which, like any vices or any addictions, which have a tendency more at night than in comparison to the daytime. The next question which we have is regarding the widespread of veganism, which is why Jain agams discourage dairy consumption. This is question number 5. So the options we have here is dairy is an animal byproduct. Then second one, cows may be tortured for milk production. This is very much prevalent in this modern world. Then the third option which we have is that Jain agams say nothing about dairy. There is absolutely no mention in our scriptures. And the last option we have is that milk and other dairy products cause spiritual and physical degradation. I see like a lot of you are picking option B. We have close to 75% people who have voted. Okay, maybe we can go to the results. Even this one, like few of the options are very close. So the correct answer is actually option D. I just want to emphasize the option D is more because what is mentioned in Jain scriptures. I understand why a lot of you must have picked option B because cows are tortured for milk production, but that's more of a modern day practice in comparison to what the original reason was for Jains. So we believe that milk and other dairy products cause spiritual and physical degradation. And people who also have a lot of inclination towards meditation and also reading scriptures, we believe that milk products, when they consume milk products, they are disqualified actually from the deep understanding of the scriptures. It is related to the internal shuddhi, which is required to understand the scriptures in full context. And these reasons we understand, like these are purely scriptural, and they might not be as much relevant to the modern world, but this is the main reason why Jains actually avoid milk and other dairy products.
Yeah, so for question number 6, this question deals with anekantvad and truth. So which of the following reflects the true essence of anekantvad according to the Jain scriptures? So we have those options there. Everyone is right in their own way. Every belief or opinion is equally valid. C, truth is so complex that no single viewpoint can capture it entirely. Or D, truth is subjective and changes based on the person or the situation. So we have 35% that voted so far. Seems like people are thinking about it, which is a good thing. I'll give it a few more seconds. We have 70% that voted. Okay, I think we can release it now. So a majority picked option C, which is correct. Truth is so complex that no single viewpoint can capture it entirely. And the reason for this is obviously like when we think of truth, we can only analyze truth from one like dimension or one angle, or even like maybe a few angles, but only a Kavli, an omniscient being, um, only they can see everything at once. And we would only be able to understand one angle of it. And this doesn't necessarily mean that like everyone is right or all viewpoints are valid or true. Some of them may be valid or true in their own partial way. So everything is within context. And then in the Tattvartha Sutra, there's it's been explained that there's 7 viewpoints or nais, and they're listed there like figurative, synthetic, analytic, straight, and you can look at the link to get the more explanation on each one.
Yeah. And this one, I think, is the one where a lot of us believe in the myth about Anekantvad, which is one of the more popular principles. Anekantvad does not say that everyone is entitled to their own opinion or to each their own. It just does say that there is only one truth. However, it's difficult to analyze or view the truth from one viewpoint. So with that, let me actually get some of the inputs from Professor Jayesh. Uh, he has put on the chat about a previous question and some more comments. Oh, someone mentioned we can revisit at the end. But we can also do it right now at the midpoint and then progress with the further questions. And if anyone else also has comments on whatever we have discussed so far, feel free to share that with the full group.
Mr. Jayesh, if you want to speak up.
Yeah, how many? Pranam, everyone. So it's pretty amazing way of putting it out and involving everyone. So it's pretty great, like, what everybody feels. And this is a really nice way of kind of involving everyone. This is a pretty good concept. So how many questions are left? So I was kind of listening to everything. So
Total 11 questions. I think we are at 7 now.
yeah, so why don't we complete all 4? So then I can, it'll be easier as this kind of process is going pretty good. Let's
Yeah,
complete
okay.
all that.
Okay.
Give a brief about.
Okay, sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure. Let's do that. And before we continue, like, has anyone got all of them right so far? Or if people would like to put in the chat, how many did they get wrong so far? Would love to see if there is anyone who got all of them correct. You can count the one for the sunset as correct if you put B, because it was B and D. So if you chose either, that's fine. YD is incorrect for Anikatwad question from there. Okay. Can we go back to the
This one.
options? Truth is subjective and based on the person's situation. Yeah, I think this is one of the myths. We also popularly think that uh, like if someone prefers something versus someone else prefers some other thing, then both are right based on the person. But that's not the principle of Anekantvad. That's a popular myth. And we purposely also put all the options for this one a little. We thought about it and tried to make it a little difficult to bust the myths. Okay, Tika got all of them right. That's good. I'm getting some personal messages.
Priyank,
Okay,
even
but we'll.
Mr. Gunwant has a message that he got two wrong.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I don't know if I am not able to see all the messages, or uh, maybe there are some private messages going, because now Zoom has this very weird functionality to uh, message. So, okay, we'll keep progressing now. The next one is on idol worship. Again, this one I think a lot of you will be able to answer correctly because this is well known. Uh, but okay, let's launch the poll. Jains perform idol worship because. So option A, Vivek or Parth, I think you need to launch the poll, or at least I am not able to see. Okay, now I can. So option A says that Tirthankars are gods who are to be worshipped, which I think is right, because that's why we have all the derasars for the Tirthankars. Then the second one is it is a spiritual, it is, sorry, it's a ritual adopted from Sanatan Dharam, which again seems likely. It helps in fulfilling certain specific desires and asks. Yeah, I think there are like many types of pujas, so maybe some of them are for certain asks or certain desires. And then the last one is it symbolizes the virtues of liberated soul. So these are your four options for why Jains perform idol worship. And as I was expecting, a bunch of us know the right answer over here, which I can see. Okay, let's end the poll and show the answers. So a lot of you have selected D, which is it symbolizes the virtues of the liberated soul, which in fact is the right answer for this one. So if we look at the explanation, idol worship in Jain Dharam is symbolic. It honors the state of Vitrakta and inspires inner purity and detachment. It serves as a reminder to aspire towards spiritual purity and enlightenment, not material gain. And one important thing to note over here is that some sects, like Sthanakvasi, they believe that even the physical symbolism is not necessary and one should directly work on oneself. Uh, yeah, so a lot of us got this, that worship is more uh, reflective, or you are trying to emulate the Vitrakta of these Tirthankars, but it's not about receiving blessings or about getting some favors. Okay, so the next one, Anish, over to you. Or sorry, this one is, I think, Roopali. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. So the next one which we have is we all as Jains, we take a lot of vows or like panchkan. So why do we do that? And the first option which we have is it's part of a daily routine and tradition, which is very common as we have all seen our parents, grandparents, and many people in the community speak about it, follow it. Then the second reason which we have is it's a conscious vow of ethical restraint. And then the third one is they are recommended by acharyas. Like we go to a lot of these community-based events, and so many people talk about the minor vows which we should take. And then the last option which we have is it brings religious merit to the fast. Because when we are fasting, we tend to even increase the number of vows which we take or restrain ourselves from various things. Okay. Let's see, we have 72% of people. Wow, all of them are on one of the options, which is option B for now. Okay, we have 77% of answers in. So maybe we can wait for a few more seconds. I don't see the numbers going up, but maybe we can end the poll. And 88% of you said that it's a conscious vow of ethical restraint, which is option B, and that is the right option. It is actually a conscious promise of ethical restraint. These are like some self-imposed restraints, which a lot of Jains, like when they're fasting, they also take, and otherwise also there are various rules which Jains live by. And this is actually like a conscious decision which we make to ethical restraint and karmic control through intention. And before any activity, we do that so that it actually prevents any karmic influx or bondage. And various like other vows which we take, like among the top 5, which any Jain would anyway follow, would be non-violence, truth, non-stealing, celibacy, non-attachment, or non-possession. But the reason is like basically to restrain ourselves and prevent any karmic bondage. So these are like gradual steps which we take towards purity and focus towards ultimate liberation. It's also mentioned in like Tattva Sutra. One of the
Yeah.
nuances which we identified was that, yes, it does support some kind of Sanyam. And like we mentioned before, it helps stop any karmic influx. I think,
Yeah. Yeah. I,
yeah,
yeah. So what we have also tried to do over here is we have taken one Pachkan, which is Naukarsi Pachkan, and we have tried to just see what does it mean. What does each word mean? And even though for us, when we take Pachkan, or so far when we have taken Pachkan, it didn't mean a lot. But once we read this meaning of each word, it made a lot of sense. And as you see over here, you must have heard some of these words, right? Ugay Sure, Naukar Sayyam, Mutti Sayyam, Pachkai, Choviyampi Arham. So, like you see also the meanings, Uge Sure actually means 2 ghadi or 48 minutes after sunrise. Namukar Sayyam, Mutti Sayyam means accompanied with Naukar and folded hands. Pachkai means by mind, body, and soul I'm renouncing. So it just makes a lot of sense when we know the meaning, and on the next page it will make even more sense when we lay out. So like the last word over here is 4 type of food, and then over here it describes which food. And these words also you must have heard about: asnam, painam, paimam, kaimam, saimam. So these actually mean: asnam means foods or herbs, panam means water, kamnam means food that is chewed, saimam means food that is tasted. So you're just laying out what all are you giving up, for what duration. And then the next page is like the last page about the Naukar Sipachkand, and it gives even more detail about what you are committing towards, and what action you're doing. So we just kept it here for all of us to realize that a lot of things which are mentioned or which we do has a lot of meaning and logic and reason behind it. And once we just dig like 1 or 2 levels deeper, it makes a lot of sense, and it just substantiates even further the fact that Jain Dharam is super logical and super easy to understand if we take the effort. Okay, so with that, let's go to the next one, which is about the concept of God. So this is again an interesting one, and let's see how many of you get this right. So, as per the concept of God in Abrahamic religions, and it's important to note that we are comparing it with how the concept of God is in Abrahamic religions. Which of the following does Jain Dharam say? Uh, all 24 Tirthankars are gods, which is again highly likely because those are the people for whom we make all the derasars and who we worship. There is no God, which is also a possibility. All Aryans and Siddh Atmas are God, uh, which is also seems likely because they are the liberated souls. Then the fourth one is Devlok has gods, which is the Indra, Bhagwan, and Indra Dev and others, right? But again, important thing to note is that we are comparing it with the concept of God as per Abrahamic religions. So please keep that in mind. Okay, I see that a lot of people are thinking and only a few have answered so far. Um, so please choose quickly. Option A is all 24 Tirthankars are gods, or second is there is no God, and third is all Arihants and Siddhatmas are God, and fourth one is Devlok has gods. Okay, if we have enough responses, then let's share the results. Okay, good, good. So there is a healthy split, which is as expected. So a few feel that there is no God, a few feel Arihant and Siddha Atmas are God, and then a few feel Devlok or the Tirthankars are God. And the right answer over here actually is B, there is no God. And as you see in the explanation, the concept of God is per the Abrahamic, and if you don't know what is Abrahamic religions, we'll come to that in a second. It says that God is the creator of the universe, it's the controller of everything in the universe, it's the judge of all your action, and it's a personal entity. And then humans can pray, seek intervention, etc. And it's the single supreme being. However, Jain Dharma doesn't believe in this concept of God. It says that there is no creator or judge or controller. So there is the concept of karma satta, obviously, who is in a way the judge and the controller. But the important point to note is that the Jainism doesn't believe that a god can influence your karma or it can seek and it can intervene in your karma. So any Siddhatma cannot change like my karma, for example, or it's only me and my choices and the way I react to certain situations which determine my karma. So hopefully this helps. And if you go to the next page, just a visual representation of the same concept. So for those who don't know Abrahamic religions, it's broadly Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Each of these have originated in the Middle East region, and all of them believe that there is one creator, one omnipotent supreme being, and one person who will forgive all your sins, etc. On the contrast, Jain Dharma doesn't believe that there is a creator of the universe or that there is someone who can change your karma just because you seek or pray to them. So that I hope also clarifies and helps you get a good perspective of how Jain Dharma or concept of God is different compared to Abrahamic religions. Okay, Anis, over to you.
Yeah, so the 10th question here is interesting about Jain, the cosmology and the universe. So the question is, which of the following is a true understanding of the Jain cosmology? And your options are there. It teaches that Jambudvip is the same as Earth. It teaches that the Earth is flat. Or Jain cosmology is a map of physical geography. Or option D, it describes Jambudvip as multiple universes. And we have 22% that voted.
Yeah. And one quick point to add while others are voting, this is also a very popular myth that is propagated about Jain Dharma, saying that Jain Dharma believes that Earth is flat, which actually is a big myth. So yeah, Anish will talk more about it.
Okay, it seems like 60% have voted, so people are still thinking about it. We'll give it like a few more seconds.
Hey, so if you don't see your poll pop up or if you missed it or something, at the bottom of your toolbar, you can go to more, the dot dot and more, and there should be an option that says polls and quizzes if you haven't answered the question yet. it'll like show the question.
Right, yeah, I think so. I think 70% have voted. So we can end the poll. And majority have selected option D. And the correct answer is option D. It describes Jambudvip as multiple universes. And so basically in Jain cosmology, the universe is it's separated into multiple loks. So Udyalok, Madhyalok, and Nichalok. And obviously each one has a different like gati. But basically Jambudvip is like where we live as humans. And it's like one island in the center of the entire universe. Um, and this model is symbolic and not like a scientific model. Not like based on our current modern understanding of science. And if you go to the next slide, uh, I think there should be a universe.
But after this one, this is the slide which I'm getting.
Oh yeah, I think if you maybe refresh the page,
Mm, This one?
yeah, there you go. Yeah. So basically this is just a diagram of the Jain universe. So you have like all the different looks. And one interesting fact is that Jambudvip is all the way in the center there. And it like when you look at this diagram, you'll see that it's like it's given in measurements, but when you think about it, you're actually looking at almost like an infinity of dimensions, because that one horizontal line in the middle of the middle level is a one Raju, and one Raju is almost, it's so big, it's like almost if someone was going multiple light years in one fraction of a second. And if you do that for 6 months, that's like one Raju. So that's like the scope of how big this is. Yes,
Okay.
that model of the universe.
Yeah. Now we come to the last one for this session, which of the following is the true Jain view about universe's origin? I feel this one is also rather easy, which most of us might know. So the first one is Jain Dharma believes universe was created by Rishabdev, who is our first Tirthankar, which seems very likely. Jain Dharma teaches that universe was created from nothing, which is the modern scientific view or the Big Bang theory, that universe was created from nothing. The next one is Jain Dharma denies the universe exists at all, which seems a little unlikely. And then the last one is Jain Dharma teaches the universe was never created, only transformed. So those are your four options. And I see a bunch of you have already started responding. So the first and the second, in my view, seem to be highly likely, uh, given that option B, especially Bombay option B, is the one which modern science also believes, which they call as the Big Bang theory, that universe was created from nothing. Okay, so it's the last stretch, last chance to answer. 5 more seconds, and then we will go through the explanation for this one and open up for our discussion. Okay, let's close this poll and share the results. So a bunch of you replied option D, which is actually the right answer. Jainism or Jain Dharma teaches that universe was never created, only transformed. Uh, universe is eternal and uncreated. It is made up of 6 substances which are permanent and undergo transformations only. And these substances are Jeev, Pudgal, Akash, Kal, dharma, adharma. It's also called as dharmastikaya and adharmastikaya. And Jain Dharma also rejects the creation by God, which we discussed previously, or from void, which is the modern theory. And I think all of you might know about the way that it works, right? There are 6 aras. There are 3 ascending aras, Utsar Pinikar, and then there are 3 descending aras, which are the Avsar Pinikar. And then right now, I think we are in the 5th ara. And then once the 6th ara is completed, it all resets. That's how the creation or the concept of origin of universe is described. So with that, we come to the end. The last one, Parth or Vivek, have you guys been able to put that as a poll for the next topic? Or you can take a minute
Yeah,
and put
Priyank,
it.
it is there.
Okay, great.
Do we
So
want
let's,
to
yeah, let's
launch
launch
it
it
right now?
now.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we can go into discussion. So I hope that this session was helpful to bust some myths, to give you some fact pack, to answer some questions in your general conversations with friends and family. And we want to get your opinion. And I'm sorry if this is not a multiple choice question, so you'll have to prioritize between the 4 options. But uh, which one do you want us to cover?
You
We
should
are
have had an option, all of them or something, if people are interested in all 4.
yeah,
You
exactly. I
can
think
mention it in the chat.
yeah, that's a good idea. You can
Yeah,
mention
you
it in the
can put
chat.
it in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. So these I think are broadly some of the things that we were thinking of coming up with, just gauging everyone's interest. So majority almost is around Jain Tithis and calendar, which personally for me is also a very interesting topic. And then Jain scriptural landscape, which is uh, Anish's wheelhouse, so to say, working with Jain e-library, Jain GPT, and Jain QQ. And then Swadhyaya syllabus, also a few of you. Okay, that's good to know. We have a few minutes, so let me get Professor Jayesh to first give his inputs and comments, and then others as well.
Okay. Pranam, everyone. As reading about all the questions and answers, there was a couple of comments. Can you go to the question number, I think, on Pachkhan? Just want to clarify a couple of things over there. Yeah.
This one, right?
So yeah. So next, go to the next slide. The next one. Yeah. So now here, when you're taking, as it was explained, that when you're taking a Pachkhan, the first word represents when you can take the Pachkhan to apply, like, when is the right time to take the Pachkhan. So when the words start with the Uge Sure and Sure Uge. So the Pachkhan, when any Pachkhan start with Uge Sure, that means before the sunrise, that Pachkhan has to be taken 48 minutes before the sunrise. Whenever the words start with a Uge Sure. Now the words start with Surya Uge, that means anybody can take a Pachkhan after sunrise. So that is the main correction. We need to do it here to understand it. Because only Uge Sure comes in where Naukarsi Pachkari, if anybody is trying to take, then it should be used Uge Sure. That means a person has to wake up 48 minutes before the sunrise and take the Pachkhan that moment itself. Then the Pachkhan is corrected to do that. And that Pachkhan can be, you can break that Pachkhan after 48 minutes after sunrise. So you have to take the Pachkhan before 48 minutes of sunrise, and you can break the Pachkhan after 48 minutes of sunrise. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that's super helpful.
Are we,
I actually had a different understanding, but thanks for clarifying that.
yeah.
Uh,
So whenever any Pachkhan has been, there's a process of the word, how you put it out. So if you are taking a Ambil Pachkhan, Upwas Pachkhan, Ekashnu Pachkhan, then that Pachkhan will start with the Suryoge. So that means that Pachkhan can be taken once you wake up and after sunrise also, it is doable.
I have a
God.
question. Don't
So
we
now
take
with I'll
like
tell you. Yeah, Rupali. Now with this, I'll tell you. This
yeah.
pachkan always taken during the pratikraman in the morning. If anybody does a pratikraman in the morning, they have to wake up 48 minutes before the pratikraman starts. Like, pratikraman basic after. So those kind of process comes in. Yeah, go ahead, Rupali.
I have a question regarding this one that most of like a lot of our fasting starts just after the sunset, right? On the previous day.
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't it make sense if we are taking a panchkan and then we take it at the same time, or it has to be the same morning, like the next morning, which is 48 minutes before the sunrise?
Yeah, because there's the word, if you're going with the pachkan, there's a word called muttisi. Okay, those kind of things. So the previous night when you're taking a pachkan, so that is for the sunset. Like, before the sunset, Chovyar Pachkan has to be taken before the sunset of 48 minutes. Let me tell you, some people
I see.
does. Now, if I'm taking actual I'm talking about, okay, what the scripture says. If I want to do a Ekashnu tomorrow, then today evening before 48 minutes of sunset, I should stop having any kind of food. Then the actual of Ekashnu for tomorrow is valid. It's right way of doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And to make it 100% also, so then today Chovyar, tomorrow Ekashnu, and day after tomorrow again I do the Chovyar, then this Ekashnu becomes 100% according to the scripture. I did it correctly.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So same thing with this process of this, like always, it's a very good subject. This one, it comes in the scripture name called Pachkhan Bhasya. Pachkhan Bhasya is a scripture which has all this detail about what kind of variation kind of pachkhans are there, how the people can take pachkhan. So people, can get the kind of fall of 28 upvas in entire 30 days while taking one kind of pachkan, which is called Gantisiyu pachkan. There are so many variation kind of pachkan. We can take a topic of it. But I just want to verify here, correct the information about the 48 minutes concept. So anybody does Naukasi pachkan. Otherwise tomorrow, have you heard this word? People joke around, कि तमे तो सूर्यवंशी छो, you are Suryavanshi. Have you heard that word?
No.
Anybody?
I've heard
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we
I've heard that. Yeah.
Okay, Suryavanshi means once the sunrise happens, then you get up. And that time you take Pachkan. That is called Suryavanshi. And Chandravanshi means when there's a Chandra, still you are awake, which is early morning. So
a
scriptures,
little sorry to interrupt, but just sharing a quick anecdote. Like we used to joke about this when we were younger. So sometimes we used to wake up only at like 10, 11, right? So people used to say, "अरे, anyways, नौकारसी हो गया है, फोरसी भी हो गया है, तो just take the pachkan." But now it
yeah,
makes a lot of sense that, hey, you have to actually take it before sunrise, then it's valid.
yeah. So point is that right way of doing it, but people are trying to educate themselves. They slowly can start that, But the actual way of doing it, you have to take a pachkan right before the sunrise. Some of the pachkan. If you're doing Chavya Rupas, then it's fine. If you're doing Tivya Rupas, then it's fine. If you're doing Ekashnu, that is fine. If you're doing Ambil, that is fine after sunrise.
Amazing. Amazing.
Sorry if I took a long, but I'm just
No,
kind of
no, no.
wanted.
No, absolutely. It was required. Was there any other observation or anyone else?
I have one question for Professor Jayesh. So this 48 minutes significance, right? If we somehow miss that, right? Is there any corrective action we can take, or should we just continue with whatever we can?
So there is one more pachkan has been given, which is called Dharna Abhigra Pachkai. If a person doesn't imagine you wake up in the morning, okay, like after sunrise also, and then you take a Dharna Abhigra Pachkai, then officially you cannot say I'm taking a Nokarsi Pachkan, but you can take a Dharna Abhigra Pachkai. That means it allows you, according to your Dharna, means according to your thought process, you are going to do this kind of Pachkan. That is
Yeah,
what it is.
great. Thank you.
Yeah. Otherwise, people will kind of keeping this, okay, every time doing Nokarsi Pachkan. But once we know the right way, we should at least start that doing it. That help us also to get up early and do the process.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Super.
So, okay. So let's go back to previous ones when you started, like one of the slide which has all the Jeev and all that. Can you open that slide?
Yeah. Was it
Is the
this one?
second question.
The
Second question.
the
Yeah.
leafy. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
you're talking about the tree diagram. This one, right?
Yeah, I just joined a little bit late, so the
Go to
slide
the
I
explanation
believe
and the
this
slide
one he's
after.
talking about,
right
the
before
leafy vegetable.
Yeah.
right before this. Yeah, right before this. There's a slide, am I right? Yeah.
This one?
Yeah, this one. So now you look at this one, no? This one slide teaches about entire universe, Chod Rajlok. So whatever the souls exist on the entire Chod Rajlok, which is it comes into this slide, just one slide. And if I make it much easier way, so 8.4 million yoni comes into this one slide itself. There is no other kind of jeev outside this slide. Every jeev which exists on the entire Chod Rajlok, it's into this. Its entire 8.4 million yonis, it's into this kind of variation because there is no other. In total, 563, just take a note of it if you're writing down. There are 563 kind of variation categorization of the jeev, but total amount is this much. 8.4 million yonis are there, where 563 various kind of jeev do take place, birth and death. This other process happens. But this is all the category of the jeeves where they're explaining it.
I just had a question about the word yoni. So does that mean it's like a place of birth, or is that the type of organism?
No. Yoni is a locations. So there are in entire. So if you look at a Chaudraj look, the center part where you're explaining about the cosmology, am I right? Like the
Yeah.
center part. So in center part, all the five senses from one to five senses exist in the only center part. But other four corners on the upper side, there are two corners, and below there are two corners. So those four corners, only one senses life forms exist there.
Okay.
This slide is so beautiful. Now imagine I'll ask here one question. Okay, it is out of the syllabus. Okay, let me ask you a question here. So all of you right now, whoever is there, which gati is a dangerous gati? Out of four, Dev, Manushya, Tiryansh, or Narak. Which is the dangerous gati that we
Devgati.
don't want to go? Okay,
Yeah, Dev.
think about it. Think about it. Priyank, think about it. I'll give it 5 more seconds.
Narakati or Tiryanshkati, I
I
think.
think
No.
Priyank.
Pick only one. Pick
Oh,
only one. There's no multiple. I cannot jump in
Put
multiple.
your option
Okay.
in the chat. Put your
I
option in chat.
Yeah. Okay, I can put it on that. So here it is. Okay. You guys are typing it, but you can say it. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Got it. Okay. Anish changed his location. Very nice, Anish. Very good. Okay. So the dangerous gati from four. How many of you agree on Narak? How many of you agree on Narak? Just raise your hand. That's it. Okay. 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 How many of you agree on Manushya? Anybody in Manushya? Okay, I know, because you all are in Manushya, so that's not dangerous. Okay, got it. Okay, how many of you believe that Devgati is dangerous? Okay, three. Okay. And how many of you believe Tiryanj Gati is a dangerous one? Roopali, okay. Okay, Anish. Okay, now if you have a pen and paper, I'll just take a 30 seconds and explain you why this gati is dangerous. So among
You
the
want me to
four,
draw something?
no, that's fine, that's fine. Among the four, now you can go to that slide, the leaf slide. Go to the leaf slide.
This one?
Yeah, just go to that slide. Yeah.
Okay.
So in among four, Tiryanj Gati is the much dangerous Gati which exists in entire Chodrajlok. Okay. Reason one, the maximum soul exists in Tiryanj Gati. Maximum souls. Okay. Maximum souls. Second, maximum location also given to a Tiryanj Gati. Third, maximum kind of senses are only in Tiryanj Gati. Maximum kinds of senses. Okay. So we some like initially I think Anish, you presented one sense, two sense, three sense, four sense, and five sense. Am I right? Or somebody, I don't know.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah,
all these
yeah,
five senses being are in Tiryanj Gati only. Manushya Gati only have one option of Panchindriya. Dev only has one option of Panchindriya. Narki has one option of Panchindriya only. There is no Ekindriya, Beindriya, Teindriya, Chorindriya, and Panchindriya in Manushya Gati, Narak Gati, or Dev Gati. Tiryanj Gati has one senses being, two senses being, three senses being, four senses being, and five senses being. All these variation kind of senses are given to only in one Gati. Why? Because maximum life form is there, and from 8.4 million locations, okay, 8.4 million locations. Even in Tiryanj Gati, the dangerous Gati is only one sense. Only one sense. Why? Because one sense has from 8.4 million location, 52 means 5.2 million location is dedicated to only one senses being. From 8.4, 5.2 million location has been dedicated to only one senses being. Are you getting it, all of you? Making sense? Rupali, you want to say something?
No, it is making sense. Sorry, I need to lower my hand.
Yeah.
Wait, so outside the universe, is there any life form, or is there nothing? Like,
Nothing. It's alokakash.
oh, okay.
So lokakash, when the word is used that with the boundary line, inside that only we will find all these five senses. It's a very beautiful topic. Like GVCHR is so much beautiful topic. I really want all of us should, once we learn about this subject, no, it is a journey of a soul. That means my soul and everybody's here, everybody's soul, where all we went so far till today, till this life, that educated us. Because Jivichar is not about anything else of scaring us. Jivichar is about telling us, guiding us, कि Jayesh, your soul has been traveled from one sense to five sense, but what all the locations? That is what the Jivichar teaches about. And the scriptures was written in 1165. So that time, Shantijuri Mar Sahib wrote this book, returned this book. So that moment, from that moment till today, that book is read by, understood by millions of Jains around the world so far in this many years. And look at this leaf. Now I'll tell you. This leaf is considered Tiryanj Gati, one census, and from 8.4 million in Vanaspati Kai has 1.4 2.4 million locations are given only to Vanaspati Kai. Imagine from 8.4 million, 2.4 million locations given to Tiryanj Gati Vanaspati Kai. And our starting point of life, where we were first, we were in Vanaspati Kai, initial first stage. We started from Vanaspati Kai onwards and we reached till five senses. So our journey started from Vanaspati Kai. That is called Nigod also. Somebody wrote Nigodh also. Nigodh comes under Vanaspati. I'm sorry I'm taking, but I really, some of the topics are very fascinating me and I love this. So that's why.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, very helpful, very helpful. Thanks for explaining and sharing that perspective. So yeah, that's exactly what we want to do through these sessions that come together to learn a little bit of what we did not know before. And I know we are also almost at time, and maybe people will start dropping off now. So thanks a lot. Mehul, I think you have your hand raised. So if you have anything, please share with us. Or if it's by mistake, it's fine.
No, it was just a continuation of this question. Um, Professor Jess mentioned Tidian Gati is the worst. So I noted down that it has the maximum souls, maximum senses, one sense most dangerous. How is it most dangerous? And what does maximum location mean?
locations are maximum and we don't have any kind of ability to understand over there to be elevated our soul, because when we started our journey, I'll take a minute or so. When we started our journey in the cycle of birth and death, and from start to one sense, we waited millions and trillions of years to somebody to liberate us, like to go to moksha from five senses, manushya gati. Then that space is empty for somebody to come out from avyava rasi to vyava rasi. That means from one sense I started from nigodh and I came into vyava rasi. It's somebody. That's why we appreciate Siddha Paramatma, that a person, a human being, achieved the salvation that opens up the door. So that is why the one sense is much dangerous, because we don't have any elevation or in kind of support of any kind of taking any pachkans or anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
But I'm really, really kind of glad, Anish and Priyank and Rupali and all of you, that you guys put it out this kind of subject this time, and the Q&A, which helped lots of people. And this is what we all as a come together and understand right way, and kind of always best thing to ask more questions. Like, whenever at the end, keep yourself open to questions that help us to educate ourselves. That is what I'll request all of you. So ask as many as question to clarify, and which will help us to guide our daily routine to understand why certain things have been kind of given us to practice it out. That minimizing, there was a discussion on tithi days, why we have to not take it, why we have to take certain things, because of one side of ayushya karma also, and second side of, on those days the intensity of water level will increase in our body, and to soak it out we have to take something in takes of the grain. The grain is only possible way to bring out that content of water contains to kind of soak it out. The green vegetables carries more watery, more water content, so it will kind of creates unnecessary imbalance in the body also. That is also one more reason for not having lilotri during the tithi days.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Priyank,
great.
just one thing before you
Yeah, go ahead, go
begin
ahead.
the closing comments. Thank you everyone for joining. So I think Shikha will be placing the sign up link for the YJP newsletter in the chat. We highly encourage everyone to sign up there. We will be putting this recording on YouTube, and we will also put a Google Drive link to the presentation in the YouTube description. So you should be able to get the slide deck and also the questions and the answers to it.
Yeah, and one other thing I forgot is that if you want to donate towards these activities or YJP, then there is a link on our website or Instagram, and I can forward it to you if required. And you can mention YJP education as one of the comments when you are donating.
Yeah, Priyank, that will be in our newsletter also. So
In
I
the
think,
newsletter also, yeah.
yeah, Shikha
Yeah,
has just put that newsletter link in the
yeah,
chat. So
yeah.
everyone,
We are
please
ramping up
sign up.
our comms, etc., touch points, and hopefully you will hear more from us. Okay, great, great. Amazing session, amazing hour and few minutes spent together. Thanks a lot, Jai Jinendra and Have a nice weekend ahead. Thank you.
And
Jai
and which
Jinendra, and thank you for the presenters.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone. And we just want to mention that, again, all this discussion was based on our understanding, and we encourage you reaching out for any questions, even in future. And for any
Yeah.
misunderstanding, we apologize. But thank you
Michhami
for
Dukram.
joining.
Yeah. Michhami Dukram.
Mehul bhai, go ahead, Mehul bhai.
Hi, thanks. Wanted to ask one question. This has been always on my mind. I understand, milk or eggs are all byproducts, dairy byproducts of animals. But is there any reason, like, eggs are more frowned upon versus milk? Obviously, both are against Jainism, but why the disparity between the two? So I grew up in a Jain family where we have all dairy products at home except eggs. So just wanted to see if anybody has more knowledge about it as to why eggs is more frowned upon versus milk.
Okay, so let me share this because I always get this when I do presentation at the university level. Most of the people do ask me that. One thing we have to understand that in egg.
Jayesh bhai, sorry to interrupt. Do you want like sharing? We can enable like sharing for you, so you can share if you have anything
Oh, no, no, no. I'm
on the
just
screen. Okay.
I can share like right now is this. If you look at it, the egg is again a panchindriya, five senses being. Okay, which is a life is kind of existing there. Right now, we don't want to get into a discussion where there's no, artificial eggs are made and all that. Eventually, egg is considered a form of life is carrying there. So having that, it is a much more kind of accumulating unnecessary karmic because the Jain and the Tirthankars and the scriptures always mention one thing: any human or anyone should live a life with minimizing karmic varganas to their soul, where you can able to consume one senses anything one sense is being, then don't jump to 2 cents, 3 cents, 4 cents, 5 cents, because you and that also specifically in one sense also not everything you have to eat, not everything you have to drink, not everything like that. So there are reasons for that where the Jain Dharma always believe about the five senses. So now byproduct about the milk, let me put it out, byproduct of the milk. Milk is again, it's not okay. I'm not talking about present how they're treating animals and all that, like cows and all that. The milk in that the you are not consuming a flesh, you're not consuming a life, you're not consuming something. So that is one thing, Mehul. But in egg,
Okay.
it is one thing. There's a life exists there, which is five senses.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for explaining that. Because I always was wondering about the non-fertilized egg. I think Vivek Jain also mentioned that non-fertilized eggs are also considered panchandriya.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Because
Thank you for explaining.
what I'll tell you one the habitual to market it out in the world, because there is no such thing like if tomorrow if I create something artificial, my brain always going to consider I'm having egg, whether fertilized or non-fertilized, the other person who is looking at it, because the dharma believes what you see, the thought process come from that. If somebody use the word, even in our Gujarati or Hindi language, when we are talking at home and the ladies are in the kitchen, never use the word cut the fruit. Okay, the cut the fruit. Like English doesn't have other words like that. But in Gujarati and Hindi, so they use the word fruit ko samarna. Fruit ko
Mhm.
કાટના નહીં સમારના. You know. So ગુજરાતીમાં કહેવાય કે fruit સમારો તમે, fruit ને કાપો નહીં. So these kind of કાપવાનું word, all that is kind of brings a negative kind of a lalia in our thought process. So the word is also used that way because word has more
Okay.
power because through the thought process. That's why.
That's a good way of putting it. Thank you.
And Mehul bhai, this is Vivek. I just wanted to add one more comment and some explanation to what I said. I asked the same question to a Jain monk in India a few years ago, and he explained it to me when he mentioned that even in the case of non-fertilized eggs, if you see, it still has all the chromosomes coming from the hen. So even if it is non-fertilized, it's not a jeev in our definition of what a jeev is because it has only half of its life force. but it is still in terms of indriya, like sex organs and chromosomes and cells also have a higher life energy. And that is the reason why to avoid that. And this is completely separate from the conversation of, hens and cows both being kept in a very brutal way during the industrialization and commercialization. And then that becomes a very larger conversation of veganism for Jeev Daya in a different context. But in just purely, even in an idealistic world, eggs have a much higher life force and Jiva energy in it. And that is why Jains should refrain even from fertilized eggs. This comes directly from a monk and his interpretation and my recollection from that conversation. So if I've said anything incorrect, Michani Dukram, and this is thank you.
No, Vivek, you
No,
put it
thank
out
you
very
for explaining.
amazing, Vivek, the way you put it out. Yeah. Because that's how we are able to educate ourselves that where it started, why it started, what is the purpose behind it. Research of dining. I will request everybody to have a book in your house, Research of Dining Table. That book can help you in so many ways to answer lots of questions there, because that book has in a multiple language, and it's there in the e-library also if you want to read it sometime. So that book has so many questions and answers, and everything is there. Yeah. So thank you
Amazing.
again.
Amazing. Yeah. Great, great. I hope that the 20 odd folks, all of us, we keep meeting every so often. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I
everyone.
added the
Thank you for the
PDF of the
presentation.
book that you just,
Jai
I added the PDF of the book you mentioned in chat right now. But yes, for anyone that needs it.
Yeah.
Jai Jinendra, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jai Jinendra.
Let's stop the recording.